I'll admit, I respect it more than I like it. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, Rin Itoshi. I have 10 minutes to discuss Rin Itoshi's run in the New Egoist League and how I feel about it as a whole, so let's get started. Rin is definitely a character who is very well beloved. And the New Egoist League, in many ways, has only raised his fan base acclaim, I'd say. I haven't seen more Rayo haters, or not Rayo, I haven't seen more Rin haters pop out the woodwork. I've seen more Rin lovers pop out the woodwork. I've seen people who were Rin haters Swift? Why can I not speak? Switch into Rin lovers. I've seen Rin Glazers rise to an even higher level of glaze than I ever thought was imaginable. I've heard people say he's like top 1 in the verse at this point in Destroyer mode and no one can stop him and he's unstoppable and invincible. All that. But what do I think? I still think he's kind of boring. And this is definitely not like boring as in he's poorly written kind of thing. I actually do think the breakdown and evolution of Rin the New Egoist League is really, really good, specifically in PXG versus BM, because of course he was the main antagonist of that game. So we get to see his past, his history, and very specifically the core and basis of his philosophy as a soccer player. And of course, the line has been memed to oblivion and beyond at this point, but have you ever played soccer with your life on the line does kind of go crazy as a bar. I'm not going to sit here and deny that to you. And that's kind of the core conceit of the character that I will have to give, even if I still kind of find it boring. Rin is a very well-written character. Notably, we cannot have such an elaborated and extensive backstory. We cannot have such an interesting character conflict with one in the New Gen World 11, aka, say, Itoshi. We cannot have a character who has acted as the basis of Isagi's motivations, basically since he first met him all the way back in second selection. We can't have the guy who might as well be the deuteragonist of the narrative in certain interpretations of the narrative, even more so than a character like Bachira, in a case more so a character like Nagi, in a case more so whoever else you would argue for deuteragonist. You can definitely make a fat, juicy, meaty, delicious argument for Rin, and on top of that, just because of how they both ended up at the #1 spot, you can definitely say, if you do not like the idea that, at least I always push, that the New Egoist League is Isagi and Kaiser's story, and you want to specifically give it to somebody else, it is definitely Isagi and Rin's story. There is all that. But I think the main reason I still find Rin just a little teeny tiny bit boring, it's the fact that I feel like he's much more obstacle coded than man coded, if you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, allow me to explain. Rin feels unstoppable, unreachable, imperceptible. He's like a wall. And I think what's happened is that like the meta narrative of Rin being this never-ending, unstoppable wall to always be able to push Isagi further, it's almost like glazed my eyes over, if you know what I'm talking about. It's made me feel like, okay, wow, yeah, okay, Rin's that strong. That's fine, that's cool. Oh, destroyer mode, his flow state, he can just do that forever now. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's cool too. Oh, he's always gonna go for a crash shot. All right, that's fine. That's cool too. Oh, Rin, yeah, Rin's still #1, huh? After viciously and horrifically selling the game. Yeah, that's cool at all. Once again, it almost feels like he solely exists to be a in-universe threat to Isagi, but at the same time, the manga is so full of other in-universe threats to Isagi that I always almost look at Rin of like, you're like a little too much. You're a little too. And I can't even, and that's the thing, right? This is where I have the conflict in my own dome piece, where like, I can't say he's perfect. Like I said, he fumbled the game. If he had just scored on his initial flow attempt, bada bing bada boom, they probably would have won. And honestly, that's a character flaw. And notably, I say your character should have flaws. So obviously, Destroyer Rin being the perfect player in a sense, but having a super extreme flaw of being very, very predictable, having no control over himself, and very specifically being way too greedy for certain ideals, and still being possibly a little bit too brother obsessed, as Ego himself points out by sending Rin to meditate in the recent chapters. It just doesn't. It doesn't hit. I don't know. At least for me, and I think the reason it doesn't hit isn't just because, the meta narrative has glazed over my eyes, and like, oh, Rin will always be eternal and unstoppable and unreachable and bada bing, bada boom, and he'll always be the greatest player in Blue Lock. He's just gonna become the best striker because he's better coordination and interaction. But I think that's kind of the other thing. Even if I can acknowledge Rin's insane stat line, his insane feats, his insane ability, I feel like, in a way, even more so than like a Boro, he kind of fundamentally rejects what, in my opinion, is the most interesting part of Blue Lock, and that is the character interactions and character dynamics. especially in Destroyer mode. I'm not the first one to say this, and I won't be the last, but PXG versus BM essentially became Isagi and Kaiser versus Rin after Shido's first goal. Once Kunigami put Shido on lock, and even when Kunigami did not have Shido on lock, he wasn't in the game anymore, it essentially erased the rest of PXG from actually being relevant. We had moments for little characters, we had moments of like Karasu, we had a tiny moment for Tokimitsu, we had little moments in Nanase, but essentially it just became the Rin show in the same way that a lot of people say GT is just Goku's time. And notably, I agree with both of those sentiments. And while I think Rin is an extremely strong and interesting character on a writing level, I just don't think he was interesting enough to carry the entire game, especially considering what that game was set up to be. Because BXG versus BM was set up to be a game of dueling dragons, I was kind of hoping there'd be some, dueling dragons, in the sense that Shido would be relevant for more than the first goal of the game. But on top of that, I was definitely hoping for some sort of change via Rin. Don't get me wrong, I understand the whole theme of the New 80s League is specifically progression through regression. The idea that you can evolve by going back into your past self and then taking what worked there and raising it to the new level of your new standard self. That's literally what every single character does to many different degrees, from Isagi to Kaiser to Chigiri to Yukimaya to all of them. They literally all do that. And Rin's progression through regression is very specifically diving deep into his isolation. Oh no, he was lonely as a child, he had destructive tendencies, he wanted to destroy himself and everything else, he wanted to know if people played soccer with their life on the line, bada bing bada boom, he's gonna do all that to 11. And he did, but then we didn't really get to see much of Rin and Shido working together. We didn't really get to see much of Rin's own foundational team working with them all too well, other than one-touch passes. We didn't really get to see Rin have any sort of proper leadership dynamic. Rin feels strangely static. And it's fine that he is, because also a character like Shido is strangely static in their narrative role. Honestly, just like Rin himself, PXG was kind of just like a big old boss battle, right? Like, okay, you're gonna go against these walls of characters, you need to somehow overcome them, and they did, and that's fine. But that's the thing, I feel like my main issue with New 80s League Rin, and kind of Rin as a whole as a character, is that I don't feel anything in regards to him. That sounds so mean. Like, I just don't. Nothing gets my heart racing about Rin. I'll admit he has the aura moments. He has the moments that make me go absolutely crazy, and like, oh wow, the aura goes insane. But especially now when I think about it and reflect on games like Ubers or games like Manshine, like I felt extreme emotion at Reo and Nagi's regression. I lost my mind at Chigiri's progression. I loved and Glaze Borrow now. Admittedly, though, I was a little tired of the man when he was airing in his game, but notably, time has not made me more fond of Neo Eagles League Rin's performance. I just grown more apathetic to it, and that just doesn't feel right. Like, notably, my thoughts being, it's well written, but I kind of don't care though. It's something that it's something that's happened before, but never specifically for Blue Lock, and it's not even that he don't. And it's weird because I can't say I don't care in the sense that, oh yeah, whatever, he's broken, blah, 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 blah. It's just like I don't care as in nothing riles me up about it, right? Like nothing, when I reflect on it, I can kind of just like see the narrative purpose of it, and that's it. And I don't really see much of like a character I can actually connect to and care for and respect and glaze and do anything like that. And I think that's kind of sad. But once again, that's kind of a me issue though. Notably, for the longest time, I felt that way about Reo, but now I've like completely shifted my perspective on the character. But then again, that was also like a recent change. So I'm not sure if Rin is going to do the same sort of like metamorphosis in my head. I'm assuming a lot of how I'm going to feel about New 80s League Rin is going to be defined about how I feel on U20 World Cup Rin. If he doesn't change somehow, off screen or not, or on panel preferably, then I don't know how I'm going to feel about the character. But right now, he just feels like a weirdly static, immovable wall who's always going to be there just to be there, so Isagi can't be number one, genuinely. And that's good. Don't ever let me be like, oh, it's indecisive, I don't really feel much, and nothing, there's no passion behind how I feel about the character, it's just a weird sort of analytical narrative respect for his role in his writing. Don't let me say that's a bad thing. That's still a really good utility, and the kind of thing you do need for a story that thrives on its longevity, like Blue Lock does. And its character count, and very specifically its character interactions. It works. Rin works well as a wall to bounce other characters off of. From Shido to Isagi, to even Kaiser. But it almost feels like Rin is like a ball of lead. He just doesn't bounce off of anything else. And that emptiness in a story that's so heavily based on its character interactions, it kind of hurts in a way that is going to be hard to recover from. But ultimately, if there's one thing I have in kind of Shiro Sensei, it's faith. But with that being the case, I am officially out of time. So if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave, how do I put this, leave Destroyer of Worlds, because we're getting, I think I've used that before, but leave Destroyer of Worlds in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notifications you not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you can have a Patreon below where you support me for as low as $1, get them on, monthly things, exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions, so this is having to review, after variations of all my videos. If you become a $12 Patreon or a $12 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, the link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below, and drop 5 minutes of a short video, 20 minutes of a long video, or any means at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dagger the Pencil, writing off. I would like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Super Flame Zero, Glacier, XZ, Zera, Brendan Payne, J2MA, Guillaume, Buddha Uda, Alex Kenny, Yuki Ally, Enzo, Nevis97, Zachary Wilson, Azo2404, Planet Crone, Rye Rich, G Prosper, Swift Strike, Alexicon, Striker Man, and Autumn Mornings Lazo. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our line art patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Dread Zoan, and A+A. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our Ink tier members: Austin Wimberly, Euchia, and Shrimpo the Shrimp. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Waki Munoz and Waki Munoz. And a vinyl and thank you to our ultimate, that guy with a pencil tier patron, Calvin's wife. Not Calvin Elder, who ultimately does have one of my kidneys, but now I must know, and I must undergo the process of getting this second one removed, so I can send the other over to this wonderful family.